Your entire existence was decided before you took your first breath. North Korea doesn't wait to see who you'll become. The state already knows. Your grandfather fought for the wrong side in 1952, so you'll die hungry in the mountains. Your great-grandmother hid a Bible in 1958, so you'll never see the Capitol. Your family owned land before the war, so 3 generations later you're still paying for it. This is Songbun, the caste system that 25 million people live and die inside. Level 1. The hostile class. You were born in a village that doesn't exist on any map the regime shows to foreigners. The mountains here are beautiful in a way that makes survival harder. Steep, cold, far from everything that matters. Your family was sent here decades ago, not because of anything you did, because of what your ancestors were: landowners, merchants, Christians, intellectuals, people who had something before the revolution, people the state decided were enemies before you existed. Your house is concrete and mud. The roof leaks every time it rains. You sleep on a mat on the floor next to your parents and 2 younger siblings. Your grandmother sleeps in the corner. She coughs through the night. There's no medicine. Medicine is for people whose files say different things than yours does. You wake up before dawn because the collective farm doesn't care if you're 12 years old. Everyone works. You walk 3 miles in the dark to fields that will never produce enough food, no matter how hard you work. The soil is exhausted. There's no fertilizer. The equipment broke years ago and no one has parts to fix it. But the quota from Pyongyang stays the same. Officials who've never touched dirt decide how much rice you need to grow. The numbers exist in a reality separate from the one you're standing in. You plant in the spring, you harvest in the fall, you hand over everything. The state takes 70%. The local party cadre takes his cut first, then the military. Then what's left gets distributed based on Songbun. By the time it reaches your family, there's almost nothing. Some years there's actually nothing. You remember the famine. You were 7. People swelled up first, their faces and stomachs bloated with fluid while their arms turned to sticks. Then they stopped moving. You found bodies on the road to the farm. Nobody had the strength to bury them right away. Your family ate bark. You ate grass. You ate things you don't talk about now. The state said the famine never happened. You watched your neighbour's daughter die in front of her house. The state says that never happened either. School is different for you than it is for other children. You attend the same building, but everyone knows. The teacher knows, the other students know. Your file says hostile class, and that word follows you into every room you enter. You could be the smartest student in the province. Doesn't matter, you'll never go to university. University is for people with the right blood. Your blood is tainted. The regime's term, not yours. Tainted blood lasts 3 generations. Your grandfather's choices marked your father. Your father's file marked you. Your children will inherit it too. The portraits hang in every room. Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il stare down from the wall in your classroom, your home. Every building in the village. You dust them before you do anything else each morning. A dusty portrait is a political crime. The Neighbourhood Watch Committee, the Inminban, inspects homes without warning. If they find dust on the Supreme Leader's face, your family's file gets another mark. Your file already has enough marks. You're 14 now and you're starting to understand what your life will be. You'll work the collective farm until your body breaks. You'll marry someone from another hostile class family because no one else will marry you. Your children will work the same fields. Their children will too. The state has already written the story. You're just living inside it. But something changed in the last few years. The government's food distribution system collapsed almost completely. People started trading things. Small markets appeared. The regime pretends they don't exist, but everyone depends on them now. Your mother sells wild mushrooms she gathers in the mountains. It's illegal. Everything that keeps you alive is illegal. But the local officials take bribes to look the other way. Bribes are the real currency. And that's when you notice something strange. The hostile class families, the ones with nothing to lose, are getting better at survival than the loyal class families who've been waiting for government rations that never come. When you have no choice but to break the rules, you get good at it. Yet, when the state abandoned you, you learn to abandon the state system. Not openly. never openly, but quietly in the markets, in the mountains, in the spaces between what's written in the law and what actually happens. You're still at the bottom. Your songbun file hasn't changed. But the distance between bottom and middle is shrinking in ways the regime didn't plan for. Money is starting to matter more than bloodline. Not everywhere, not for everything, but for the first time in your life, you see something that wasn't there before. A crack in the system, small enough that most people don't notice it, large enough that you can see through it to something different on the other side. Level 2 is waiting. The wavering class lives in a different world than yours, but not as different as you'd think. Level 2, the wavering class. You're born in a city that isn't Pyongyang but isn't forgotten either. A regional capital with factories that sometimes run and apartment buildings that always leak. Your grandfather was an office worker during the war. Not a hero, not a traitor. He filed papers. That neutrality is your inheritance. Your family gets rations, not enough to live on, never enough, but more than the hostile class families in the countryside. You know this because your mother mentions it when she's trying to make you feel grateful. The rations come twice a month when the distribution centre has supplies, which is maybe half the time now. Rice mixed with corn, sometimes just corn. A bit of oil, salt. You supplement everything else at the market, which means your mother works twice. Her official job at the garment factory, then her real job selling homemade noodles from a cart she wheels out every evening. School accepts you without question. You sit in the middle rows, not front, not back. The teacher calls on you sometimes, but not often. You're capable enough to answer correctly, but not special enough to showcase. You study the same subjects as everyone else. Math that always somehow involves counting artillery shells. Korean language through the collected works of Kim Il-sung. History that begins and ends with the Kim family's revolutionary exploits. Science class where you learn that Kim Jong-il invented the hamburger. You don't question it out loud. Nobody does, but you notice things. Your textbook says North Korea is paradise. Your stomach says otherwise. The portraits say the dear leader provides everything. The empty shelves say something different. You file these observations in a space behind your thoughts where they can't get you in trouble. When you're 16, you take the university entrance exam. You score well. Not perfectly, but well. It doesn't matter as much as you thought it would. The students with core class backgrounds get placed in Pyongyang universities regardless of their scores. You get assigned to a teaching college in your home province. Your parents are thrilled. A university education, a path to a stable government job, security. You're trying to feel grateful. The system told you this was success, and maybe it is. You'll become a teacher, marry another teacher or a factory manager's daughter, raise children in an apartment similar to the one you grew up in. The cycle repeats with minor variations. But something's shifting that the system didn't account for. The markets are growing. What started as desperate survival trading during the famine years has become a shadow economy that now eclipses the official one. Your mother's noodle cart led to a stall at the Jiamadang. The stall led to connections with suppliers. Those connections led to money, real money, more than your father makes at his government job where he hasn't been paid in 3 months. Here's what nobody talks about openly. Songbun still determines where you start, but money is starting to determine where you end up. The family down the hall has wavering class status like yours. Their son failed the university exam. He should be working a factory job. Instead, his parents paid a bribe. Not a small one, a substantial one, accumulated through years of market trading. He's attending the same teaching college you are, sitting 2 rows behind you. His presence bought and paid for in ways that would have been impossible 10 years ago. You watch this happen everywhere now. A core class family that stayed loyal to government rations is struggling, while a wavering class family that embraced the markets is thriving. The father still shows up to his state job because not showing up gets you investigated. But everyone knows his real work happens after hours, trading Chinese goods brought across the border through networks of bribes and unofficial arrangements. The Neighbourhood Watch Committee still inspects apartments. They still check that portraits are dust-free and properly positioned. But they also accept payments to overlook certain things. The USB drive hidden in your classmate's room containing South Korean television shows. The illegal cell phone that can pick up Chinese signals near the border. The unregistered guest staying with a family who paid for the committee's silence. Everything has a price now. University admission, job placement, travel permits between provinces, medical care beyond what the collapsed state system provides. You can't buy your way into the core class. That door stays shut. But you can buy most of what the core class has. An apartment in a better building. Medicine when someone gets sick. Meet more than twice a year. The ability to move through the country with fewer restrictions. Your Songbun file still says wavering class. That hasn't changed. What's changed is how much that file matters in daily life versus how much money your family can generate and who they can pay off. The official system and the real system are diverging, and everyone's learning to navigate both simultaneously. You graduate from teaching college and get assigned to a school in your city. The assignment came through official channels, but your parents paid to ensure it wasn't a rural posting. You teach children the same things you were taught, the mythology and the mathematics of artillery shells. You dust the portraits every morning. You attend self-criticism sessions where you confess minor ideological failings. And every evening you help your mother with the market stall that generates 3 times your teacher's salary. You're living in 2 economies, 2 realities, learning to maintain the performance the state requires while building actual survival through channels the state pretends don't exist. You're not free, not even close, but you're learning something the system didn't intend to teach. Adaptability matters more than loyalty when the loyal are starving and the adaptable are eating. The core class is watching this shift with concern they can't quite articulate yet. Their privileges are supposed to be permanent, ordained, untouchable. But money is proving more flexible than bloodlines. They're not wrong to worry. But their worry won't stop what's already in motion. Level 8, the Donju, that's what they call you now. Master of money. You started with nothing except wavering class songbun and a willingness to take risks that terrified your parents. 20 years ago, you traded cigarettes and cooking oil in the Jiangmadang. Today, you own distribution networks that move Chinese electronics, Thai rice and Russian fuel across 3 provinces. Your official job is listed as factory administrator. Your actual income is $1,500 a month, maybe more, depending on what crosses the border and who needs what. You've never seen Pyongyang except in propaganda films. Your songbun file hasn't changed since birth. But you live better than most core class families because you understood something the system didn't account for. When the state can't feed its people, whoever can feed them becomes more powerful than whoever has the correct bloodline. You pay everyone. The local party secretary gets his cut. The police chief gets his. The border guards who look the other way when your trucks cross from China. The market inspectors who don't inspect too closely. The neighborhood watch committee that doesn't report your unauthorized guests. Even some military officers have arrangements with people like you because their own salaries are worthless and their soldiers are hungry. You've created a parallel economy that the official economy now depends on. The state won't acknowledge this. They can't. Acknowledging it would mean admitting the entire songbun system has a price tag. But everyone knows. Everyone participates. The core class families who once sneered at market traders now quietly approach you, asking if you can source medicine their state hospitals don't have. The party officials who give speeches about self-reliance buy South Korean products from your networks. The system survives because of the corruption it officially forbids. You're not safe, though. You know that. The Donju class exists in a grey zone where you're too useful to eliminate but too independent to trust. One policy shift, one crackdown, one example that needs to be made, and you could lose everything. Your file is still marked wavering. Your wealth can be confiscated. Your networks can be declared criminal. You could end up in a camp with 3 generations of your family, so you pay more. You cultivate more relationships. You make yourself indispensable to enough powerful people that moving against you becomes complicated. This is the bargain. You get to live well, they get to maintain the fiction that songbun still matters while profiting from the system that's replacing it. Level 9, the defector. You made it across. The Tumen River in winter, the current nearly killing you, the Chinese border guards you paid off, the Underground Railroad through 3 countries, the South Korean embassy in a city whose name you can barely pronounce. You're in Seoul now. You have an apartment, a job, a bank account, a smartphone that connects to an internet you're still learning to navigate. You're free. That's what everyone tells you. You don't feel free. You feel unmoored. Everything you were taught was a lie. The South isn't a starving wasteland occupied by American soldiers. It's the 7th largest economy on Earth. The buildings are taller. The stores are full. People throw away food. They complain about problems that would have seemed like paradise to you 5 years ago. Your songbun doesn't exist here. Nobody cares that your grandfather was a merchant. Nobody checks your file before deciding if you can attend university or get a job. That should feel liberating. Instead, it feels like you've been erased. Your entire identity was built around a classification that means nothing outside those borders. You're starting over at 37. You're learning a version of Korean that's drifted so far from the north that you struggle with basic conversations. You're working jobs that South Koreans won't take. You're trying to understand a society built on principles that contradict everything you knew, and you're carrying something you can't explain to anyone here. Guilt. Your family is still there. Your mother, your sister, your nephew. When you left, you made them hostile class by association. They'll be watched now, punished for your decision, maybe sent away. You'll never know because you'll never hear from them again. You made it out. They paid the price. The South Korean government gave you resettlement money. They assigned you a caseworker. They're helping you integrate. But integration into what? You don't belong here. You don't belong there. You exist in between, carrying memories of a system that shaped every moment of your life until the moment you left it behind. Somewhere in a mountain village right now, a child is waking up. She's 8. She doesn't know her songbun classification yet, but it's already been decided. Her file exists in the Faithful Servant database. Her grandfather was a landlord before the revolution. That makes her hostile class. 3rd generation. Her life is mapped before she's old enough to read. She'll go to the local school, but not the good one in the city. She'll work the mines or the fields, but never the comfortable jobs. She'll marry someone from her own class because nobody else will have her. She'll pass this classification to her children. Unless the system breaks, unless the markets keep growing, unless money keeps mattering more than blood, unless enough people like you cross enough rivers. The system was designed to be permanent. It's lasted 65 years, but permanence is a claim, not a fact. Every system believes it will last forever, right up until it doesn't. The cycle continues until one day maybe it stops. The girl in the mountains doesn't know any of this yet. She's learning to dust portraits and recite the names of the founding fathers. She's being taught that her place was earned through her grandfather's crimes. She believes it because everyone around her believes it, or pretends to. But she'll also watch her mother trade at the market. She'll see money open doors that Songbun keeps locked. She'll notice the contradictions that the system can't explain away anymore. And maybe when she's older, she'll make a choice that wasn't supposed to be available to someone with her file. Or maybe she won't. Maybe the weight of 3 generations will be too heavy. Maybe the fear will be too deep. Maybe the system will adapt faster than the people trying to escape it. That's the thing about living inside a hierarchy, this absolute. You can see the cracks forming. You just don't know if they'll widen into exits or get sealed shut before anyone else makes it through.